7:36, and it's my great pleasure to introduce Eden at the Otaka Valley School near Whangarei, which is a pretty small school. It's lovely. It's in a beautiful rural setting. I've been there, and she's doing some really exciting stuff with science with her kids and with her teachers. And Julie is from a totally different school, Summerfield Intermediate School down in Auckland. Down from there, up from me. I'm in Christchurch at the moment. Julie works with, can't remember the name of your oppo, Julie.
Carol Duffield. Carol Duffield.
Carol and Julie make an awesome team at that school. I've been there too, and I'm really looking forward to this evening's presentation. Both these guys are going to talk about their way that they do science in the respective schools and the advantages and disadvantages, both of being a school with no specific science specialists, and one where you have specialist science teachers and a science room, and what it's like teaching science in both of those situations. So the way that we'll do it is I'll ask Eden to talk first, and then people can ask questions of her, and then I'll hand over to Julie, and at the end of that we can Julie can ask some questions if she wants, and then we can have an open discussion of any issues that arose. So without further ado, Eden, it's all yours. Just a second, I forgot, I'm going to turn everybody's participants' microphones off until we get to the discussion bit. Okay, so here we go. And Eden, it's all yours.
Fantastic. Hi, everybody. My name is Eden. I teach the Year 5 and 6 students at Otaka Valley School. My science fellowship was in 2012, and quite, it's only 3 years, but I wish we could turn back time and do it all over again. I have taken on the perspective of upskilling all teachers to facilitate science. Because we're a small country school, we all need to we all have to not specialise, but we all have to cover all the areas most primary school teachers do. But this is my perspective. I don't have much to do with specialist science teachers, because with primary schools we teach everything, every area of the curriculum. But I put up some photos. I just share them through as I talk. It's only like 2 minutes long, but why I put the photos up, because you can see the difference of the mix of kids. As all staff, when I came back from my science fellowship, we were all upskilled in science. There's 6 teachers at our school, and including our principal and our caretaker all got involved, and the librarian. So everyone was engaged in science, and through these photos, as I talk through, you can see the older kids working with the younger ones. You've got student teachers in here. You've got teachers, all teachers participating in professional development days and everything else. Hopefully it's going to play. Yep, there we go. It's a little bit blurry, but you can get that everyone from new entrants to my end of the school have been upskilled in science and are loving it because of the integration and just giving the opportunities for all kids to experiment in science, and teachers, because teachers like to experiment too. And it's taken back from the classroom, back to the home, back into the community, because all kids from the age of 5 all the way through are participating. The teachers, when I came back, were quite engaged in what we were doing, because it was all hands-on, and science wasn't something that they sort of put to the side, but just what I learned was on my fellowship, and I was able to take back. Teachers embraced, I think, but it was more the integration and how we could cover so many different areas of the curriculum through science. I spoke to a number of teachers about upskilling all teachers rather than having a specialist teacher, and they referred to the old school where the DP was a specialist teacher. And what happens is if someone leaves, all that's lost, and you have to go looking again for that particular, that area of professionalism, all the skills that are needed. And we do a lot because we're a small school. We cross group a lot. We're able to mix the abilities, but also the ages. And we do a lot of Friday, Friday is our thing, and we try and get all the kids involved, and they can share their knowledge, which makes them share their knowledge at home, which goes back into our community and which we want. And my staff that we work with are quite good, so they're great. That might be the downer, the negative side of this is that the specialist teacher loves science, so they're able to go with their passion, but we've got teachers that may not be that passionate about science. So what I tried to do, we've got the drama teacher, so we try to integrate the science through teaching mantle of the expert in bits and pieces. We've got the literacy lady who loves doing things through literacy, so we've integrated science through that. So it's those sort of things that we can enhance those teachers that are passionate, but then it's trying to tweak them and make sure that they sort of have the same passion, I guess. And we work as a team. Teamwork is huge in such a small school because we've all got so many responsibilities. We can bounce ideas off each other. The working environment, we can get together and brainstorm, motivate each other, I guess. And I think that's a huge advantage. Getting the kids to, if the teachers are all upskilled in the science area as well, the kids, they get the opportunity to sort of think and be a little bit more scientific when, in the environment, finding out a little bit more, and the teachers aware of the students' strengths because they have them all day, and they're not going to a particular science area. It's always integrated through reading, writing and math. But the time, I think time was a huge thing, trying to upskill in all areas of the curriculum, trying to be good at all aspects. So the integration thing is huge. All staff being involved in Science PD, it enabled teachers to sort of slow down as well because they were able to look at, sort of try not to juggle everything. Also trying to get there, just the knowledge and the skills, and and using the children's strengths, but also their needs can be adjusted through science.
Sorry, we seem to have lost Eden. We seem to have lost sound from you. Do you want to try and switch yourself back on again? I'm not quite sure what happened there.
Is it back on?
Yeah.
Is it on?
We had a bit of an issue with your sound while the video was playing. I think the video was taking up too much bandwidth, and your sound popping in and out. No, you weren't to know that, but the sound was popping in and out quite a bit. So one or two of the pearls of wisdom got lost.
Absolutely, I'm sure. Hopefully it was all my jumbling and all my mix of my words when I got nervous.
So people might ask you for a little bit of clarification shortly. So anyway, if you could carry on from where you got to, we lost probably about 10-15 seconds of sound at the end just there.
Okay. I was talking about the upskilling of all staff and how since coming back and sharing my wisdom, I guess, with all the teachers, the science tables and all that sort of stuff in the classroom is huge. We had a grandparent bring in a skeleton of a sheep, and they cleaned it up. I think they cleaned it up with vinegar or bleach, I don't know what it was. But now the kids are putting back the skeleton in the classroom. It's fantastic. And that's in the Year 2 class, and they just play with it and put it all back together, and it's really great to see. And as you go through the classrooms, science pops out because that's of the upskilling of all teachers. You've got kids in the playground as they're playing, they're coming across, the monarch butterflies. We've got this great little video of the kids discovering as these monarch butterflies are mating, and you've got the junior teacher and the senior teacher just there communicating with the kids. It's really, really good. But that's all going home as well, which we're quite big on. I guess most schools are, but we involve the community hugely because I guess we need the support since we're such a small school, and the parents love the activities that come home. Part of homework, part of just general discussions. And just even the building of the vocab, I think, too, when it comes across the science and the vocab, but even just the nature of science, knowing that it's out there and just taking all the aspects of science back into the classroom from what they see in the world around them. I ran a PD, which was quite beneficial for the staff. We did it like an amazing race type event, and we went to all the science community and within our area that the staff were able to experience science firsthand, which is usually what you do as a teacher with your class, but making sure that the teachers experience it as well, not just the kids, because we all enjoy having a good time as well. And sharing bits and pieces. We've got dinosaurs happening next term through drama, which incorporates a lot of science, and so we can tap into everyone from the Year 1s to the Year 6. We've all got knowledge, and we can all share and work as a team to enhance, even if it's just one classroom. But yeah, I think that might be it. I don't know. Any questions? No.
Thanks so much, Eden. It's open now for people to ask questions of Eden. Maybe if somebody's talking and you want to say something, use the little hand up person up at the top to make a cue. So that'll indicate that you want to speak next. So if anybody's got any questions for Eden, that would be great.
I didn't talk about many minuses only because I don't know. I guess I didn't know the other side of being a specialist science teacher, so I couldn't sort of compare what would be a downfall to it. I guess that the main thing is probably time and being knowledgeable of all areas of the curriculum. So, but I think teamwork and that sort of thing. Oh, too, Greta.
Hello, Eden. Can you hear me?
I can.
Excellent. Hey, thank you for sharing all that. It sounds like you're doing some amazing things. First of all, my sister Sarah Research would probably like to say hello.
I was going to experience it. Oh my God,
I'm particularly interested in, lots of it, but what stuck with me was you're talking about the amazing race that you did with the staff, and would love to hear a little bit more about what that looked like. I think it would be great to use back in my school.
Oh, I think it's good. So what we because we're such a small school, one of the junior teachers helped me out with this. So I'm the seniors, she's in the juniors, and what we wanted to do was take the staff out into the community, not the everyday activities that we all go to, snorkeling in the marina or the Kiwi House Museum, those general activities that we all do, go on the train ride or go into the transport museum, those sort of things. We wanted to avoid that, but we wanted to introduce to the staff other areas of science where they would look at the quarry that's just up the road and have, look at that, and the beekeeper up the road. We took the staff down to the town basin, and they went on the little aqua cycles on the water and looking at propulsion and stuff like that. It was a great day out, thanks to the Royal Society. We were able to get relievers in and just took everyone out on a really good day. Actually, it was a terrible day. And we've got a great new bridge here in Whangarei that we got the guy down there to meet us, and there were experts teaching us. Instead of just taking the kids out, I thought the opportunity for teachers to see firsthand, and what we did, they had to link where they ended up, they had to link it back to the nature of science and then actually justified how they would use it in the classroom. So yeah, they're all given like little quizzes and questions, just like you would do, you know, in the Amazing Race, and then they had to meet that particular person at the site. It was a great day, and the motivation from staff was huge, and just opened their eyes to what science was like, you know, sort of the world around them, that type of thing, and the nature of science. So they got into little teams. Yeah.
Okay.
It was good.
Hey, thank you. That sounds great.
That's all right.
Elise, did you want to add anything to that? Same question, Elise? Or was that, did that answer it for you?
Almost. I just would like to know how many times Eden took to start on events like that.
We only did, no, it was only the one-off, but I was lucky to take staff meeting PD once a week. And so everything we did, we tried to make something, you know, something different. And the area that we live in, we're quite lucky because it's out of town, but we've got great science little sites like the local river. So we were able to go down there and test water in bits and pieces. We've got a reserve across the road, so looking at native trees, those sort of things. So we're quite lucky in the environment that we have in the catchment area. So my principal was open to the professional development that I had to offer. So we sort of did lots and lots of hands-on, and that sort of, I think that sort of encouraged all staff to be on board, but also using their talents, their passions to help drive science as well. Yeah.
So you staff or gave PD every week, and was it after school, I presume?
Sorry, I can't hear you. Can you repeat that?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So you organize PD every week for your staff. How long were the sessions, and for how long? You know, was it one term? Was it 2 terms?
It was 2 terms, and probably maybe it was an hour and a half, maybe an hour. Maybe it was an hour. But it was a lot. We did a lot of fun things. The kids thought we were crazy, you know, sort of we all got in there and we were lighting things outside in the playground. They were all excited too because their teachers were all excited. And it was even simple things to looking on the iPads to see what scientific apps that we could look at, or getting the cameras out and photographing what science looked like. Those sort of things. Yeah, but also making sure that it went back to how we would use it in the classroom.
Yeah.
And also, linking it back to the nature of science.
Sounds fantastic.
Lots of fun.
Eden, I'm going to ask you to hang on there and ask Julie to share what she has to share. I think, Julie, you've got a PowerPoint. I don't think that'll be quite so demanding on the bandwidth, so maybe we won't have the same problems with the sound. And then afterwards we'll have some questions from Julie, and anybody's got anything else to add or you want to engage in further discussion, we can do that right at the end. So Julie, are you ready to go?
Yes, ready, thanks.
Okay, cool. Do you want me to start your PowerPoint, or are you okay with that?
Oh, yep, okay.
Do you want me to start it?
Yeah, I've just got on to...
Here we
Yep,
are.
you can go ahead.
모의 데모.
Okay. Right. It is uploading, hopefully. Keep your fingers crossed.
모의 데모.
Okay.
Right. It's all yours. Go for it.
I'll start at the end. Hi, my name's Julie Dowman. I'm a science specialist teacher at Somerville Intermediate in Howick in Auckland. We're a large intermediate. We've got over 900 students. I work with Carol Duffield. We've both been on fellowship, and as a result of Carol's fellowship, her main aim was to get another specialist science teacher on board, and I was just a classroom teacher up until that point, so the job was sort of put out there, and I thought, wow, that would be an awesome opportunity, so I jumped at it, and a couple of people applied, and I managed to actually win the boss over. So I was lucky enough to start from scratch with my own program. It had to be basically created from scratch. Carol works out of a science lab, and you can see some pictures showing at the moment. So it's purpose-built. We're lucky in that we have only half classes, so a maximum of 18 children at a time. And I work out of a classroom. So for me, it works better, and my passion is the living world and planet Earth. So I teach through those two strands, and Carol is able to focus on the physical and the material world, just for the fact that she's got a lab with sinks and all that sort of stuff available to her. So our programs, although we teach different content, we actually assess the same skills. So we have come up with an assessment sheet that we transfer to each other. The way our program works is that we have our students, the year 7s. I will have them for 10 lessons, which is 2 lessons a week for 5 weeks. And then later on in the year, they will go to Carol for the same number of lessons. The year 8s have about 7 to 8 lessons with me, and then later on at another time in the year, they'll get another 7 to 8 lessons with Carol. And along with that, we have 8 syndicates, and each syndicate runs their own authentic learning journey, we call them, inquiry-based throughout the year. And with the emphasis on science, there is an expectation that science is a part of those authentic learning journeys. So there is some onus on the classroom teachers to actually plan for and do some science, although that science does not need to be assessed. Carol and I do the assessment side of it. We have very much a collaborative approach to science, so Carol and I are really support people for the other teachers in the school. We assist them in their planning in terms of how they can incorporate science. I'm a big advocate for citizen science projects, so as a part of the camp turnaround for year 7s, I teach the students how to carry out a marine metre squared survey in my program, and the idea is that they actually do that at camp. Unfortunately, the downside of that is I don't get to be on camp to see them do it, and sometimes, unless there's a big buy-in from the teachers, it doesn't necessarily follow the strict protocols in terms of gathering the data and becoming, I guess, engaged in the whole process. Sometimes it could be just a tick-the-box type of scenario. Something that we've been focusing on is trying to look at the science capabilities and how we embed them and teach them explicitly in our programs. This poster was something that I sort of developed. We have done a number of PD sessions with our staff, and we've produced an A3 copy of this that is in every teacher's classroom. And the idea is to try and integrate the science capabilities across the ALJs as well as in the specialist science program. So everyone is sort of speaking the same language. And it seems to be gathering momentum. The more we do it, the better we get, just like anything else. For me, the benefits of specialist science, the biggest benefit is that the group sizes are really small. I think this allows for really good discussions. You can get maximum student engagement, and the practical activity aspect is much, much easier to plan for. Within the living world and planet Earth, I do a lot of science investigation through modelling. So the students are making models, creating models, trying to interpret models, and I find that works really well for me. The fact that I can focus on one curriculum area has really allowed me to develop my knowledge and skills, and certainly being on the fellowship where we were sort of unpacking the science capabilities at the time was really valuable, and it just made me even more passionate, more excited to come back and do science. A big part of the job that we do is to provide support for the classroom teachers that relate to their syndicate topics of inquiry. There can be 8 different topics, so it can be quite hard to actually tie that into our own specialist science program. We have this challenge to try and integrate everything, but sometimes that can be a bit of a mountain to climb. My classroom is set up to allow for storage and access to specialised equipment. So as I've developed the program and sort of fine-tweaked it, I've been doing this is my 5th year, and I don't think it's quite got there even yet. It's still evolving and changing, so I'm developing and building up a resource that I can then use. And the chance for me to evolve and develop a program actually is really good, because I can make it fit the needs of the students and the interests and what's going on at the time. I think the other valuable thing about specialist science is that I can revisit concepts with different groups, and it allows me to get a good idea of overall student content knowledge and skills in working in science. We've become quite adept at being able to know what the kids will know and what they don't know. And that allows us, in terms of doing the assessment, which is quite an important part of what we have to do. We have to report on science. It makes it easier because we're seeing so many students. And our assessment is very much anecdotal notes and the discussions that we're having, rather than content knowledge. It's about the capabilities and the ways of thinking. And I think we can learn a lot about that through the discussions that we're having with the kids on a daily basis. And you get such variety. Although you're teaching similar content, I think the responses from the kids are quite different, and you can get a handle on really what the kids are into, and we quite often go off in tangents, which is great. The downside of specialist science is that I don't have the kids for long enough. It's a little bit like a sausage machine. I think that if I went back into the classroom teaching, I would pretty much teach everything through science rather than just having it as a part of my program. I can see the value of it and see that there is so much out there that can actually that can work in the classroom with a little bit of management, but it does take a fair bit of time and effort to actually get up to speed with the knowledge and how you're going to tackle it and how you're going to teach it and where you want the kids to go. Something that we're a part of at the moment is the Learning and Change Network with Science. So we are linked to the primary schools and the secondary schools in terms of trying to develop some sort of ongoing link so we can develop and see what's going on in primary school, how we're going to continue that at intermediate, and what the secondary teachers are sort of looking to have by the time the kids get there. So our Learning and Change Network is headed by Carol, and she's doing an amazing job in terms of trying to coordinate it. One of the things that we've just done recently is we've had science fair, and our kids do quite well at the Manukau Science Fair. So we took our top 20 science fair projects to Willowbank Primary, and the kids had the task of presenting and talking to groups of year 4, 5 and 6 students about their projects and how they went about it. And that was a really sort of valuable learning experience as well. So it's the first time we did it, and we could see the value of it. The primary teachers were really impressed, and they could see what was happening at our school, and they could see where they needed to go in terms of taking their own kids through science fair investigations. So it's pretty full on. I can see the pros and the cons for both specialist and classroom science. But in a big school like ours, I think it's a real benefit having a specialist science program. And it'd be interesting. I think the size of the school has a big part to play, and the number of kids you're having to deal with. So, yeah, I think I've talked for long enough, so if anybody's got any questions.
Okay, thanks a lot, Julie. I'll open up now to questions. If you want to talk, some of you guys have got your microphones muted, so turn them on before you ask questions. And don't forget that if someone's talking and you want to ask a question, put your hand up. There's a little man with a hand up logo at the top. Okay. Over to you guys. Paul. You have a question.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Very good. My question is just about some specific examples of how you could integrate science into maths or English. Please.
How you could see, this is a problem I have. I would rather integrate maths and literacy into science myself. Specific examples? Through a science lens. So, for example, something that I do with our students with the Year 8 students is looking at food chains. So there's an activity that I do called Food Chain Checkers, where they've actually got to play a game, a model of a food chain. They collect data, and I guess the maths component is they have to actually graph the data. So deciding what sort of graph, it's actually a line graph they have to do, but it's multiple line graphs. It's those things that I think make it context rich rather than doing it the other way around.
That's good. I'll probably think along the same lines as you, I believe. It would be easier to start with science and work towards the others.
Yes. Yeah.
Jen, it looks like you wanted to say something.
Can you hear me, Julie?
Yes, I can. Hi, Jen.
Hi, lovely to hear from you and hear your lovely voice. I'm just interested why your school has decided to have both an expectation, both specialist science through you and Carol, as well as an expectation that teachers teach science in their through their authentic learning. Why both approaches?
Just for the fact that ours, if we look at the number of hours that we're giving the students in specialist science, it's not a lot. So it's 20 hours a week, and Carol brought up the fact that I think the expectation is that in science they should be getting she gave me a figure, but it was way above what we're actually able to offer in specialist science. So I think it came about. Sorry, go.
I was just wondering, what was the teacher's response to that?
Yeah, they're fine. I think they're on board with it as long as they can see a link to their authentic learning journeys, because sometimes it's not immediately obvious. But then other times they will just go ahead and make it fit, and then come to us if they need some ideas for how they can make it fit. We've got a syndicate that was doing something on change. Their whole question is around change. So their science aspect was looking at adaptations. So I was able to give them some practical activities that they could do, looking at collecting data about adaptations and looking at bird beaks. So if there's no onus, I think if the pressure's taken off them to do assessment, they just engage with it in terms of enjoying that aspect of it, rather than thinking, oh, well, I've got to assess it as well. It's just that experience rather than the actual, all the other stuff that goes with it.
Oh, no, thanks. That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Eden, did you want to ask a question? Or, you put a tick there. I wasn't sure whether you were in the running for a question before Greta, or whether you were just saying approving.
No, I was agreeing. I was agreeing.
Okay,
with,
so Greta. Okay, so Greta, you put your hand up. Yes. You did. You've done it.
Hello, Jenny. No,
Hi.
I haven't yet. Hi. Thank you for sharing about what you do. It's really similar to what I've got at my school in terms of a setup. The difference being at my school, we've got about 730 students, and I'm the only specialist teacher there at the moment, science teacher. But we have the classroom teachers come in so that we still get that double up. Yeah, which is just a different version of that model. The question I had for you was around, I'm really interested in how you've developed your capabilities and focusing on that for your assessment, something that I'm really keen to learn more about. And I was particularly wondering about what work you might have done with staff developing your knowledge and capabilities, or how you went about that.
We looked at actual resources they could use, things like and going back to linking it to numeracy and literacy, the use of the Figure It Out books, which have some of them have a science focus, and identifying particular capabilities like gathering data and interpreting data. We've done, I'm just trying to think now off the top of my head. We've done a fair bit of work with Ali Bull. I've been to a couple of her workshops. We were a part of a cluster that was involved in sort of looking at the capabilities and how we could take them back and help support teachers. So it's just activities really. What I find is that unless it's pertinent to what they're sort of working on in terms of their authentic learning journey, then they're not really interested. So it's about taking that opportunity when it comes up and then trying to sort of feed it in. I know in their planning they're becoming more and more familiar with the capabilities, so they're trying to actually incorporate it into their planning and make it a bit more workable. The more they do it, the better they get, sort of thing.
Awesome, thank you. Just very quick side question. Have you are your staff familiar with nature of science and capabilities, or have you used the capabilities like focused on them more?
No, we 2 years ago we were doing the nature of science. Yeah, we've been through that nature of science with them, so they're very familiar with that, and we've done experiences in the nature of science, and then we've built on that with the capabilities. and our assessment that Carol and I do actually is a blending of the two. So under the nature of science, we sort of have linked in the science capabilities as well.
Great. I'd love to see more of what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, you two. I'd like to throw it open now for anybody to ask questions of both of these guys, or comments, or what you feel about it. Anybody wants to kick it off? For me, I'm really impressed with what's happening in both of your schools. I think it's really exciting. I love the idea both of having specialist teachers and working in that way, and what Eden's doing up at her school. I think that the whole business of improving the profile of science within schools is really, really important. And I love that idea of what was the group? The Learning and Change Network. That
yes.
sounds a really exciting thing. Yeah. So, yeah, how did that get started?
It came through the principals, actually. Principals, well, David was initially in charge of it, and then he sort of handed it over to Carol. So within science, she sort of became a part of it. Yeah.
Right.
So she coordinates.
So is it specifically science or cross-curricular?
No, just science. Yeah, just science.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So there is funding, and she gets release time to actually coordinate meetings and to plan for it, and it's about sharing resources and supporting the students that are coming into our school from primary school, and then thinking of how we can support them going on to secondary school, just within our local contributing schools.
Right. I was just wondering whether either you, Julie, or Eden, have got any questions or observations on each other's presentations. Deafening silence.
Sorry?
Deafening silence.
I think it's great that Eden's doing what she's doing, and I think that within the primary school, it's certainly it's about that engagement and getting kids interested in science.
Which will follow on to what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And if we all work together, we will. Science will be all the way through.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's an interesting comment from Jen about the cluster approach, and the seeing that there are cluster applications for the Science Teacher Leadership Program. That would be really quite interesting, having little nuggets of expertise in different areas. Sounds great.
Oh yes, yeah, that would be brilliant, actually. Yeah.
Any
yes, we've had
from anybody else? Sorry.
Yeah, we've had a few people.
Sorry, I'm cutting you off again, Julie. Go on, carry on.
No, I was just going to say that we've had a few teachers who have recently, I think they're on fellowship, or they have been recently, from our local schools. I know from Botany Downs College, they've come in to have a look at what we're doing, so that's really good, and they're really impressed with what they see going on, so that sort of boosts us and think, well, we are on the right track and we seem to be doing the right thing, so it's good for us as well.
Brilliant. Paul?
G'day. I teach at a Year 7 and 8, and almost in a high school, but the Year 7 and 8s are set up in a high school format, so I end up teaching around about 200 students. And although I feel I can do quite a good job with science, I find that by being a specialist, I miss out on getting to know the children so well. I was just wondering what you people thought about that. It's a sacrifice between doing a good job with the science and really building good relationships with the students.
Yes, I'd agree with that. That's definitely what happens. Yeah.
that's something that I found as a secondary teacher, that you know, it was really difficult to get to know students as deeply as one would like, and even one's form class, you know, you were fairly restricted the amount of time that you could spend with them.
Yeah. I think it's possible to get connections. You're not going to get it with everyone in a big school like ours, but there are students that you do connect with who enjoy coming and doing the science with you. So, and they're the ones that, you know, people that come in with a negative attitude and go out feeling good about science, and you can see that happening. So that for me is the reward, I think.
And the positiveness that you're putting across all that amount of children. We, like for me particularly, I've got 28 to 30 children for a couple of years. So science is probably embedded, but I'm only touching 28 or 30 students, you know, over a period of time, and to be able to have that many children engaged in science, or you know, just having a taste of it, you know, the direction that you can have on them is huge.
That's right. Yeah, it's good.
Jen.
Oh, I'm good, thank you. How are you? Yes. No, because I think the different forms of assessment that we all do is you can sort of make it sort of a bit more low-key, I guess, but still informative. You don't want to turn around and kill the passion, I guess, because of assessment, because we have to meet the standard. But I think, you know, enjoying it as well as making sure that they've got all those extra pieces. And I think you can do that through assessment if you sort of veer away from too much of the summative, I think, you know.
Cool, that's great. Thank you.
Diane.
Yeah, hi. Oh, I've forgotten.
Julie.
Julie, sorry about that. The two of you, I suppose. I teach in a primary school, but every term I get a class of children that I keep for the term, and we do everything through science, which is great fun for me and usually great fun for them as well. And for the assessment thing, for the staff at school, what I'm trying to get them to think about is not about assessing the science so much. Work a little bit smarter and use it to assess your explanations or to assess your numeracy through it. Them anyway.
Thank you, Diane. Was there a question or was it a statement?
Sorry, not a question, just a statement.
Yeah, no.
Okay, thanks. One of the things that really impressed me about visiting both your schools, Eden and Julie, was the enthusiasm that you guys were. Julie, I didn't really see you in action, but I remember seeing Carol working and going and visiting Eden, and the enthusiasm and dedication to the task was really impressive. And I think that's 9/10 of the battle. If you can get that enthusiasm going in yourselves and in your students, that's really helps.
No, well, I've definitely noticed the difference in my kids that move on from me and heading to intermediate when they are doing the science fairs and the bits and pieces, and how well that they are doing from the years that we've been really focused on science, which is really good.
Yeah.
Julie, you've got a question from Elise in the chat. Would you mind sharing the poster with other schools?
Sure. How would I do that?
You could send you could send it to me again as an individual thing, and I can arrange for it to be circulated if you like.
Oh, okay. Yep, can do that.
All right, cool. How are we doing? Are there any more questions or comments or thoughts or pearls of wisdom? Well, I'd just like to round this off by thanking you two very much and thanking everybody for participating. If you go to the little man figure, you can show your appreciation by some applause. And I really appreciate. It's been really great tonight. Yeah, thanks so much for sharing your wisdom and insights. And thanks everybody else for being involved. We will be having another webinar next term. So Jen and I and John have to put our heads together, but any suggestions for topics would be welcome and gratefully received. So please tell me or Jen or John, if anything that you want done. Otherwise, unless there's anything else that anybody wants to say, let's call it a day.
Thank you all. Thanks everybody.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome.